You're listening to the Membership Geeks podcast, bringing you proven practical tips and advice from the leading experts on growing a successful membership business.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of the Membership Geeks podcast. I'm your host, Mike Morrison, chief geek around these parts, and I hope everything is going well in your world and in your membership. If this is your first time listening to the show, first of all, welcome. I'm so glad you found us. This is, in case you weren't aware, the number one place to be for proven practical tips and advice on growing your membership business. And that is something that you'll already know if you are a long-term listener. If you have been subscribed for a while, or if you've been listening to episodes for a while, I would so appreciate if you could just hit pause and take 30 seconds out of your day to leave a nice shiny 5-star review and a few kind words about how the show has helped you. We've been doing this for over 400 episodes now, and I do hope you've been finding it useful. Every review we get is read by me, and it really not only helps me to know that I'm hitting the right marks and I'm actually helping people, but it also helps us spread the word. The more reviews the podcast gets, the more it gets spread around the various different networks, the more people we can help, and the better we can make the membership industry together. And doesn't that sound nice? If you do leave a review, or maybe you've already left one, hit me up on social. Give me a shout at Membership Geeks. Let me know so I can thank you personally. Okay, today I want to talk about something that I've been extremely excited about for months now, and that is the return of our very own live conference, Retain Live 2025. It happened back in 2019, and it is finally happening again in 2025, September 2025 to be precise. And I've just been so hyped and excited and just almost in disbelief that it's happening again since the decision was made, and especially since it was announced to the public, because we kept it under wraps for a while, obviously to start building a little bit of anticipation, to tease it out, but also to make sure that we had a little bit of time to sanity check that we wanted to do this again, and to get speakers lined up, to get a venue lined up, and all of that. So I just wanted to take today's episode to talk about why we're running a live conference again. Obviously, our business is memberships. We run the number one membership for memberships, membershipacademy.com. That is a purely online business. Online memberships are online businesses. Very few of them typically will have an in-person element. And anytime there's an in-person aspect, it's usually just a nice little addition. It's perhaps something where the membership founder happens to be in town, they're traveling, and so they get together with a few members. Generally, you're not going to have big, all singing, all dancing, complex live events as part of your membership model. So it's not like the two just naturally go hand in hand, or that running a conference is an obvious thing for membership owners to do. So it's a big decision and it's a big deal, but also it's more the fact, and more why I wanted to talk about it, that we did this back in 2019. So by the time this happens again, it will have been 6 years since the first live event. So why was there not a Retain Live 2020? Why has there not been a Retain Live every single year for the last few years if it's such a big thing for us to be doing? So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that and let you know kind of my thinking and how this entered the discussion. So Retain Live 2019, for anyone who's not aware, it was a 2-day live event that we ran in my hometown of Newcastle upon Tyne here in England, and it was very squarely focused at existing membership owners. So not a conference that is for people who are thinking about memberships, not a conference that is for people who are maybe just running general online business and, they're coming to this conference kind of thinking, well, it's not really for me, but I'll learn some general tips. There was nothing general about this. This was hyper-specific for existing membership owners who wanted to grow. And it was a combination of expert speakers as well as myself doing quite a lot of sessions, plus a lot of networking, some roundtable masterminds. So most of the second day was actually the attendees masterminding amongst themselves, because these are all people who are already running their membership business. They're serious about their membership business. People in the room making 7 figures, 8 figures, where it's their full focus, their full business. And so the masterminding potential there that was realized was huge. We had panels, we had a great big live party on the night in between the two events. There was just so much stuff going on. And it was the first time that we'd ever ran a conference like that. So we'd done a few little one-off days, member meetups, small mastermind days, very small training days and workshops, but never something of that sort of scale. And it was a absolute smash. Like, we nailed it. I'm not just blowing my own trumpet. I am my own harshest critic, but that is something I know that we absolutely delivered on every level and beyond. The feedback that we got from attendees, we had some people saying it's the best event they've ever been to, and some people still saying it's the best event they've ever been to. We had people coming to our events who run their own, who were inspired by the things that we did. Like, this was a huge, huge deal. Like, we did so well. The speakers were phenomenal. The progression that people had as a result of coming to the event, changes they made with the things that they learned, some people starting a whole new membership based on being at the conference. Like, it was everything that we could have asked for. But it was a heck of a lot of work. I mean, a lot of work. And so going into it, like, we'd had maybe 10 months of build up to it, and not being from the event industry, not really knowing what we were doing. We have some friends who've run events, but they're quite different to what we were doing. And so there was some advice and input we can get, but not a huge amount. And so we were winging it and doing a lot of the work ourselves. The design work was mostly done by myself. I remember going on holiday before Retain 2019 happened, like a couple of weeks before. First of all, who books a big holiday before they're meant to be running a conference? Yeah, that was my mistake. But it was centered around a sporting event and all of that nonsense. But I remember like putting together an introductory animation video on the plane home from that holiday. And again, I'm not a video editor. That was the first time I'd done any sort of video animation. So this was the extent to which I was doing everything in-house. We didn't have the big team that we had back then. We had a community manager and a virtual assistant. Didn't have a graphic designer. Didn't have anyone helping me with the web stuff. No one doing video. It was all being done by us. And we worked with an event company, but they came in fairly late in the day and they were mostly hired for on-the-day support. So even things like sourcing suppliers, arranging the venue for the social, all of that we were handling in-house. So it was a lot, as well as delivering and preparing for a 60-minute opening keynote talk and a total of 2 panels hosted by us and 4 shorter talks, like 20, 25 minute long talks. So 5 talks, 2 panels, a whole conference, everything that includes, that was all on our shoulders. And so it might not surprise you, and I've talked about this on the show before, that going into that conference, we weren't sure we ever want to do another one. We want to make sure we nailed this. We were confident, but also exhausted because we'd been non-stop. On top of running the regular business, we were obviously still running the academy. The academy is the main focal point. So we were just burned out before it even started. Now, normally, the best time to sell tickets for the following event, so the follow-up to a conference, is at the end of the current one. And we didn't do that because we genuinely didn't know if we wanted to do this again because it was so much work. However, the event itself was so amazing, and honestly, there's no feeling like being up there on that stage and seeing the people in the room, especially even just paying attention to the parts where you're not talking, or where maybe there's other speakers who are on stage, or where the masterminding was happening during the breaks, just looking at the magic that was being made. And that sounds very schmaltzy, but that's what it felt like was happening. And then the feedback afterwards was unconventionally positive Like, there was practically no negative marks whatsoever. One or two minor things, but when they'd said them, they almost said, I'm having to nitpick here to give you any sort of creative or constructive criticism because everything was so good. So while going into the event, we were pretty much, I think, convinced we wouldn't do it again. Coming out of it, there was enough that we got from the experience and the buzz, and then in the weeks afterwards, that feedback, seeing the stuff on social media, people begging us to do another one, pretty much from the being in the bar after the first one ended, that was enough to at least put a little spark there that told us that it would be a waste if we never did it again. And also, for all the hard work, it had paid off. It was big for us as a company. It generated content for us, like a lot of free content, but also the talks themselves from the conference became content for our membership. That actually fed our membership for a while. We got new people joining the membership site. As a result, we got people who had maybe started kind of fading away and not being as engaged in the academy, who were reignited as a result of going to Retain. We met new people who have gone on to become key contacts for us. So there was a lot of positives from it, enough to kind of think, okay, let's do this again. So we decided we were going to do it every 2 years. We didn't want to be an annual event for a few reasons. One, we don't want to be an event company. We are a membership company, a membership about memberships. That's our bread and butter. That's what we enjoy. That's what we teach. We are not an event company. Also, yes, we got a lot out of the event, but it wasn't designed as a revenue generating exercise. The money, anytime we went into the green, anytime we were making profit, we reinvested it into the event because it was much more about the statement, first and foremost, kind of planting our flags as the people in the membership world, but also about creating content, creating branding assets, building our authority, bringing our people together, like all the benefits that we got of all of those, none of them were generating profit. We just reinvested. And that's great, but obviously your business can't sustain itself on that if you're doing that sort of thing every single year. So we knew it couldn't be a yearly thing. There was also the fact the event is so focused on existing membership owners and helping them grow. And we wanted every speaker who was on stage to have something specific to say to membership owners. I didn't just want someone who, has never heard of a membership site, but they know stuff about Facebook ads, so we'll get them up to teach some generic stuff about Facebook ads. No, if we're having someone talking about a topic, I want them to have a membership ideally, or to have worked closely with membership owners. They need to know what the model is. They need their talk to be specific to the model. Like, it's got to be hyper specific. That makes for a phenomenal conference, but it also makes for a much smaller pool of potential speakers. It's harder, so much harder, to find speakers with the high level of knowledge and specific expertise that our audience kind of demand when we are positioning ourselves in the way that we position ourselves. And I knew that we'd burn out of speakers very quickly. I also knew we'd probably run out of just material in general. The membership industry doesn't move so insanely fast that we need a yearly update on the latest tactics and stuff like that. It's not, because it's such a specific niche industry or niche industry for our transatlantic friends, it's not something that, it's not like a social media marketing world where there's always something new with the algorithm or there's a new platform. Like, it's a bit of a slower, more stable, steady industry. And so there's not so much of a need for new stuff every year. But also it was just making sure, okay, if we're going to do this again, it can't be in a way that we burn out, because I'm not even going to say we nearly burned out first time. We did burn out the first time. But yeah, we decided we're going to do this every 2 years. And we're going to mix it up a bit. We kind of thought silly little things like the branding was all orange. We'll change the main color theme every single year. So we keep the same kind of style, the same logo, but next year it's orange, next year it's blue, the year after it's purple. Like, we'd started thinking about nitty-gritty stuff like that. And we kind of thought because it was going to be a 2-year thing, we just wouldn't need to think about it again until, August, September 2020, at which point we'd start promoting for 2021. But of course, we all know what happened 4 months after Retain Live 2019. COVID. We had not anticipated a global pandemic. Now, again, we have friends who have events. We were keeping an eye on what they were doing. A lot of them took their event online. We thought about doing that, but realistically, it didn't make sense for us. We kind of did a little Retain Replay Day when we celebrated the 5th anniversary of the Academy in 2020. And so we kind of almost did a 1-day virtual replay of the conference, but we didn't, obviously no one knew how long this thing was going to last and how long the hangover was going to be in terms of actually being able to do anything in the wake of it. And so, that obviously threw a big spanner in the works in a huge way. So really, I think as we kind of got into deep into 2020 and then things weren't really sorting themselves out into 2021, the world started opening up a little bit. There were a few false starts. Travel was still restricted even to late 2021. We kind of figured, this is not meant to be. This goes on the shelf because I don't think we saw us getting to a place of confidence that this wasn't going to happen again, that people would travel, people would come overseas as readily as before. We didn't think we'd get to that place of confidence until probably mid-2022, and then we'd need to start thinking ahead to 2023 and all that sort of stuff. And it just felt like it was so far removed from the first conference that we would have lost the momentum and it would be taking a bit of a risk. So we just shelved the idea. Lovely that people enjoyed it. It was fantastic for what it was. It was a great first album. And now we didn't have to face the risk of, doing it a second time and mucking it up, right? But as the world started opening up again and we started getting out to events again, people were still asking about it, still mentioning it, asking if there'd be another Retain Live. And that started to build momentum. We started looking at it seriously for 2023, but then other things got in the way. We had some internal stuff. There were staff changes. There were just things happening in our personal lives in 2023. And I've talked about on a previous episode with myself and my former co-partner, who was also my partner, separating. And so that put a lot of uncertainty around things. And we were just kind of resigned to Retain not being something that happened again. But it was always there. The itch was always there, and it was coming up more and more. 2023 and early 2024, it was still coming up, and this was 5 years on, and there's that point at which you have to just listen to what's happening. You have to pay attention to how many people are asking about it, and it was just starting to feel right. And this is so silly, but I was like 99.9% there, and then it was just in saying Retain Live 2025. There was the musicality of Retain Live 2025 sealed it for me. Not some huge strategic thing, but from a strategical point of view, I was there. I was kind of sold. I just felt I needed that tiny little bit of extra push to get there. And just hearing Retain Live 2025, that pushed me over the edge. And honestly, I think the time just felt right. I think the industry's matured a lot. There's a lot more expertise in the world. The level of knowledge people come into the membership space with is higher. And we played a huge part in making that happen, but now we want to build on that. And there was almost that feeling, and this sounds like, I don't want to make it sound like I'm doing this for the people. But I mean, there truly is no other event like this for membership owners. There hasn't been since 2019, and we are the custodians of the online membership space. Self-proclaimed, but also proclaimed by many others. We have to light the way. We have to plant the flag. We need to bring this event into the membership space. And it is needed. The membership industry's changed, and the world's a different place too. So, made that decision. started getting to work, started costing of venues and AV and all that sort of stuff. And before too long, we have a full speaker lineup. We have a date for the announcement. The website's ready to go. We've got social media teasers ready to go. And we opened ticket sales with a big announcement. And we're already about 60% sold out, like with just a handful of emails and just letting the industry know what's happening again. Got some great sponsors who've come on board. We've got fantastic speakers. We've announced them all. We've got people like Kendra McDonald, who's a biopsychology wizard. She's been on the podcast before. Got Layla Pumper talking about systemizing as you scale. We've got Funk Roberts, who is just incredible at building loyal tribes and loyal communities, member engagement in the fitness world. He's going to be coming over from the States. Kimber Cooper Martin, who is a gamification guru, who's going to be teaching how to use that to improve retention and engagement. Martin and Lindsay Huntback from Jammy Digital, who are content marketing geniuses. Mark Bryant, good friend of mine, another local guy who is a video marketing expert. Lizzie Goddard, who is just an absolute whiz with online strategy and has done a lot of really cool things with memberships, micro memberships, cool little marketing strategies for always open memberships. And Teresa Heath Waring, who just knows online business and online marketing inside out. Plus, a lot of me teaching the latest tactics and the latest strategies. We're going to have great masterminding again, lots of social going on. It is 2 days of just hyper-focused, action-packed day, membership tactics, talks, panels, and a lot of networking and conversations and connecting with fellow membership owners around the world. I honestly can't wait. It is so exciting, and it'll be here before we know it. There's less than a year to go, but everything's slotting into place. Everything is getting lined up. The agenda's coming together, and it's looking incredible. I'm so happy that so many people are already booked in. And there's so much time left to get more people booked in as well. Of course, if you're listening and you're thinking you're coming, get yourself to retainlive.com because the price is going to be going up the closer we get to the event. So right now, the price of tickets on that website is the cheapest they're ever going to be again. So if this sounds like the place you want to be, which if you're a membership site owner, it is, get yourself to retainlive.com, grab your ticket, and you get to see the fruits of all of this little backstory, all of this little process. But for now, I do hope that sharing this little insight into why we're running another membership conference, how it's fit into our business, why we kind of went dark on it, and what led to it coming back and what we've got in store. If you want more information about Retain Live, that website address again is retainlive.com. You'll be hearing so much more about it in the months to come, and I do look forward to seeing plenty of you there. But for now, that is it from this week's episode of the Membership Geeks podcast. Thanks as ever for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Membership Geeks podcast, we invite you to check out membershipacademy.com. Membership Academy is the original membership about memberships, and it's the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a successful online membership business. Whether you're still trying to figure out what your idea is going to be and you need some help making it a reality, or whether your website is already up and running and you're looking for ways to grow and attract new members, then Membership Academy can help you to get to the next level. Not only do you get access to our step-by-step membership roadmap, our extensive training library, and exclusive member-only discount and tools, you'll also become part of our supportive, active community of membership owners that will help you along the way in your journey with feedback, encouragement, and advice. All of this and more make Membership Academy the #1 place to be for anyone looking to start, manage, and grow a successful membership business. Check it out and join the community at membershipacademy.com.